Hello and welcome to Chapter 16, E-Learning to Build Thinking Skills. My name is Julie Shoemaker. In this first slide, what are thinking skills? Thinking skills have been identified as the ability to analyze, communicate findings, and decision making. These skills have been further broken down into types. Creative thinking or adaptive expertise is described as an idea person or someone able to solve unfamiliar problems. Critical thinking is described as having the ability to interpret, evaluate, or infer information. Metacognition is your mind's operating system that sets goals, monitors progress, or adjusts thinking approaches. Domain-specific types of thinking skills are always embedded into a specific task, such as a plan or a course of action related to a specific concern. A doctor who diagnoses a patient will follow a specific type of treatment for that patient. It is also an example of this type of thinking skill. Specifically, these skills are broken into competencies. Cognitive, process, and strategies are problem solving and analysis. Knowledge is using evidence or research to recognize solutions, whether it be textual or orally communicated. And creativity is adaptive. There have been two ways to determine if thinking can be trained. The first was an infusion approach, and second was an explicit approach. In the infusion approach, researchers integrated thinking skills into an ongoing course. In the explicit approach, a separate course or lessons were devoted to specific thinking skills. The first principle in teaching thinking skills is to focus on explicit teaching of job-relevant thinking skills. This principle has 3 engagements. The first, displaying expert thinking models as an example for students to determine the correct way to discover answers. The second is to focus learner attention to behaviors or cues of expert models. This is a way of signaling the learner to important upcoming information. The third promotes active engagement with the expert model or role-playing in the situation with analysis. The next principle, or principle 2, designs lessons around authentic work, tasks, or problems. 3 examples for these lessons are problem-based learning, where you take a real-world problem or situation and find solutions in self-directed activities. There's automotive troubleshooting, which begins with a description of a problem, and then all of the examples involve problem-focused instruction as ways of improving critical instruction and critical thinking. Evidence in the ways these techniques enhance thinking is proven directly from the learning and the results of these lessons being taught. Problem-based learning, or PBL, is also reliant on the ways it is implemented and taught. Evidence from Sherlock, a computer coach practice environment designed for simulation of real problems in engineering and electronics, has shown similar results. Overall, the learning as it relates to real-world situations seems to have more value to the learner and the ways they reach conclusions. The final way we enhance thinking skills in e-learning is Principle 3, which defines job-specific thinking processes. What we don't know about teaching thinking skills is what kind of learners and tasks are more effective than traditional lessons, how to integrate different teaching and learning styles, what types of guidance is needed to avoid overload in problem-focused lessons, what are the most effective ways to open lines of communication during problem-focused learning. This was my presentation for Chapter 16, E-Learning to Build Thinking Skills. Thank you.
Created using Powtoon.